we're going to go ahead and get started. But first of all, guys, thank you so much for joining us. My name is Mark Jansen. I'm the business development specialist here at Boomerang. And a few housekeeping items before we jump in. But if you aren't familiar, we've been doing this probably for about the past 6 months. So it's about once a month we're doing these free webinars. And ultimately, our goal, guys, is to be a resource, to be something that we're not here trying to, make a huge sales pitch to you about Boomerang or anything like that. It's really ultimately to bring people together to talk about, really cool things that are working, maybe things that aren't working, new ideas, fresh ideas. Our goal is to just come together and figure out how we drive and grow our businesses together. So, again, the second Wednesday of every month, typically. We're a little bit later this month. I think we're on the third Wednesday right now, but typically it's going to be the second Wednesday of every month. So check us out, join us. You'll hear from some really cool guests. And obviously a reminder that this is for you. So if there are questions, if there are comments, things that you want to know more about, things you have questions about, whatever that is, there is the question and answer section at the bottom. So I would encourage you guys to throw that into there. It's really helpful for us to keep track of all the questions, and we will definitely do our best to answer all of them prior to jumping off today. Again, feel free to use the chat as well. But again, as I mentioned earlier, we are thrilled today to be joined by a very special guest, Eric Thompson. So Eric, thank you so much for joining us today. A little bit about Eric, guys. Eric is with the Leading Edge Academy. He is, I say, truly an expert in this field. So that's why I'm so excited to have him today. I think you guys are going to really learn a lot. But ultimately, Eric runs a training company, and he works with realtors. He works with real estate brokers and owners. And ultimately, he's teaching, he's guiding these leaders and sales professionals on how to grow their business, how to kind of have that balance between, having a very successful business, but also a fulfilling life. And ultimately, I'm assuming for most of you, that's why you got into the real estate world in the beginning, was really to find that balance, to have enough, financial stability to go do the things that you want to do, but then also make those connections with people. So again, thrilled to have you, Eric. Thank you so much for joining us. I'd love for you to share maybe just a little bit more about you and what you're doing, and tell us, kind of a little more about yourself.
Absolutely. Oh my gosh, Mark, it's my pleasure. I'm so fired up to be here. I'm such a huge fan of Boomerang and everything you do for your realtor clients to make their life easy, to stay in touch with their clients in a value add way. You have just this great community of people all over the country. It's my pleasure to be here. I think one thing about me is I'm a student of success. I love looking at people who have really fulfilling careers, really fulfilling lives, and kind of digging in and figuring out what are they doing that's causing that, and then turning that into lessons like today that we can share, give people things they can implement like this afternoon if they want, so that they too can have a super fulfilling career and life. So I think this will be fun. Like, this is going to be like quick, to the point, kind of like punchy, like just 5 things. And my hope is people get a lot out of this. So it's a pleasure to be here. Thank you.
Yeah, again, thank you. And I know when we kind of reached out to you, we said, hey, we'd love you to think about maybe the 5 most important weekly success habits. And again, I'm sure that was not the easiest thing to pare down to just 5. I'm sure you have so many things that you're teaching and talking to people about of what's working, but we did ask Eric to kind of pare it down, and that's really our ultimate topic for today. Again, is the 5 most important weekly success habits of really top sales professionals, people that he works with day in and day out. So we're here to kind of share that, and we're going to just start running through that, and I will go over to the first one here and throw it right back to you, Eric.
All right, awesome. What you're going to find, everyone listening and watching, what you're going to find is these 5, I believe, are super relevant to today, very relevant to today's market that's moving at such a fast pace, right? And what I'm noticing a little bit of, sometimes a lot of it of, is people feeling burnout. So this one right here is a really good strategy to mitigate burnout. If you are feeling somewhat burnout, this is something to start doing right away. What you want to do, guys, you want to schedule your recharge time first. What do I mean by recharge time? What I mean is things that recharge your battery. I think it's fun and effective to think of yourself like a phone. We have a battery in our phone. We know where that battery gauge is at. All of us have the little percentage thing up in the upper right-hand corner of our phone to tell us where their battery's at. Do we know though where our own battery is at? And if it's being run down, we need to recharge it. So just like we plug in our phone to recharge it, we need to plug in ourselves into things that recharge our battery. And we need to schedule those things first. So what I mean by that is when you map out your week, it's Sunday evening, it's Monday morning, and you're laying out your game plan. You're looking at all the things that you already have scheduled, all the things that you want to do. The first thing that you want to get into your calendar, the things that will recharge your batteries. So for you, is it exercise? Is it morning routines like journaling and writing your gratitudes, writing your affirmations? Is it going for a walk? Is it going for a run? Is it going for a bike ride? Is it going to the gym? How about time with your friends and family? How about time just to hang out, just to chill out? Time to go on a hike, things like that. You want to put in your calendar first before anything else gets scheduled. These things get scheduled. You know why? Because these have the ultimate priority, because they recharge our battery, because that's us taking care of us. And if we want to be at our best for other people in our life, then what we need to do is we have to take care of ourselves first. So it's kind of counterintuitive. Like none of us want to be selfish. None of us want to put ourselves above other people. But the thing is, if we want other people to get the best from us, and those other people may be clients, they may be our family, they may be our friends. If we want those people to have the very best version of us, to get the best experience of us, we have to take care of ourselves, and we have to make ourselves a priority, and we have to schedule these things first. So the simple takeaway is that your schedule and the things that are going to recharge your battery, they need to get into your schedule first thing, all right? Because those have a priority. I see, Mark, a question here from Dave that I really appreciated. In my most recent podcast, I talked about how your agenda has to line up with your desires. So same thing goes here. So we all desire to be refreshed and recharged. We all desire to have high energy, to be at our best. So we have to line up our agenda to do that. So our agenda has got to be taking care of ourselves and get those recharge times into our calendar first.
Right. No, that's a great point. And do you find typically that when you're working with agents that this is something that they do or they don't do? Or I mean, is it?
No, they don't, especially now. Most of them don't, because what they're doing right now is I notice a lot of people are throwing their routines out the window. It's like the times they need the routine the most, they're throwing it out the window. They're saying, I'm too busy to work out. Sure, I'd love to work out. I'd love to go on a bike ride. I'd love to go on a run. I'd love to go on a walk, a hike. I'd love to go to the gym, but I don't have time. I don't have time to do morning routine. But the thing is that will come back to bite you in a big way. That will end up taking away massive amounts of time if you're not investing just a little bit of time up front.
Right. No, that makes a whole lot of sense. And again, to your point, it's probably a hard thing to understand, but then when you're really putting that into practice, it's going to make a whole lot of difference for you going forward. So
totally.
Awesome. All right. Well, let's jump into the next one, which is 30, 30, 30.
30, 30, 30. So this is a strategy that I came up with, I think about 45 days ago. As I've taught it to people, it seems to really hit home. It seems to be something that people feel like they can implement right away, that feel like they can get some value out of. You'll see it ties a little bit to number one. The simple strategy is this. It's looking at 3 time frames during the day that are each 30 minutes long that are super important. All right. So there are 3 30-minute moments during your day that are super, super important. They are the first 30 minutes when you wake up in the morning, the first 30 minutes when you get home in the afternoon, evening, from your day of working and being with clients, and then the last 30 minutes before you fall asleep. All right. So 30, 30, 30. So just those 3 30-minute chunks. What's super important in those 3 30-minute chunks is you eliminate screens. All right. No screens are allowed during those 3 30-minute time segments if you're really following this. All right. And think about it. First thing in the morning, is it good? Is it healthy? Is it effective? Is it going to recharge your battery? If you're diving into your email, if you're diving into your social media during the first 30 minutes of the day, if you're going through your news feed and consuming the things happening in the world the first 30 minutes of the day, like, is that going to build up your mindset and get you in the right frame of mind that you would want for your day? Probably not. And those things that are waiting for you in your email, those things that are waiting for you in your social media, you know what? They've been waiting all night. They could wait another 30 minutes. Like, it's not going to be the end of the world. Like, you don't have to respond to those things right away, even though the temptation is to do that, because we actually get like a dopamine hit when we do that. Like, there's a chemical reaction in our body when we do respond. Well, resist the urge to dive into those things for the first 30 minutes in the morning. There are other things you can do during those first 30 minutes that will serve you way better. Now, the second 30 minutes is when you first get home, right? So you've had a big day. You've worked on your business. You've had showings. You met with sellers. You studied the market. You had the charitable event. You had all the kids around, whatever it is. Now you're home. Those first 30 minutes is your time to reconnect with your family and your friends if you have family at home. It's your time to ground yourself. It's time to decompress. It's a time to just let out a big breath. It's a time to focus on the very most important things in your life, the things that you love the most, which are these people that live with you in your home, if you have people at home. So put your phone away, is my point. So listen to them and engage with them, with all of you. A friend of mine calls it whole face listening. So listen to that person with your whole face, not like with part of your face where you're kind of looking at your phone, half to them. That can be offensive, right? So just be super engaged with them during that 30 minutes. And the last 30 minutes is very straightforward. The last 30 minutes before you fall asleep, again, no screens, don't stare at your phone. You don't want to like bombard your brain with all those messages and images right before you fall asleep. That's not good. There's also simple research around staring at a bright light, which is your screen right before you fall asleep, is not going to create a really great night's sleep. So bottom line, do all you can to not have screens during those 30-minute time segments.
Yeah. And I can say I'm 100% guilty of all three of those. So that's good advice for me too. Cause yeah, I mean,
hey, you start tomorrow.
Yeah, exactly. I'm gonna take your advice here for sure. All right, great. Number 3 is play offense in the morning.
Play offense in the morning. Here's how this goes. We've all heard this saying that you want to work on your business before you work in your business. All right. And that comes from a book called The E-Myth. So the E-Myth tells us what's really important is to work on our business, not just work in our business. For us in the real estate business, when working on our business, that means when we're game planning, when we're planning out how we're going to stay connected with our clients. Like, by the way, what I love about Boomerang is it pretty much automates all of that. It makes your life really, really easy. When you're looking at your goals and looking at milestones toward those goals, when you're planning out your schedule, when you are connecting with your clients to build up your future business, right? All those things are working on your business. In your business is when you're actively out with clients, you are doing presentations to them, you're showing property, et cetera. But the thing is, and a really good way to think about this is it's offense and defense. So offense is when you work on your agenda. Defense is when you work on someone else's agenda. All right. And the thing about offense is it only happens when you proactively carve it out. No one's just going to hand you offense. Whereas defense will show up automatically. Like, we don't have to do a thing to create defense. So defense is the, hey, you got a minute. Defense is the co-op broker saying, hey, I have a question. Defense is the lender reaching out to you. Defense is the client with an urgent question. Defense is some kind of contractual deadline comes up. That's all defense. Defense is also the kids have a need. The spouse has a need. You got to go to the grocery store. Like, all those things are defense. Those will show up no matter what. Like, you don't have to do a thing to create defense in your life. You have to plant a flag in the ground, proactively carve out offense time. The best time to do that is in the morning. So the expression we have in coaching is you want to win the day by 11. So what all that means is you got to get all the offense played by 11 so that you're teed up, so you're ready to play defense in the afternoon, right? So just understand, defense will show up automatically. For you to have offense, you have to carve it out. You have to proactively make it happen.
Right. No, that's great. And I think, jumping back probably to what you just talked about prior to that is that 30-30-30, is like, if you're not, you're kind of having that time and then you're setting it up after that to really dive into the offense and get yourself going in the right direction. So
yes, awesome. Indeed. That's right.
Great. All right. Well, number 4, meet with your future self.
Meet with your future self. Here's how this goes. We all know about time blocking. We know the importance of time blocking. We all have things that we want to get done. I think a really good example is sending out the property review. So I'm a big believer in the property review. I'm guessing most of your listeners are too. All that is where you periodically keep your clients up to date on what's happening in their neighborhood and what their property is worth in today's market. So it takes some effort to get that done. So to get that done, what you have to do is you have to block out the time to do it. But what happens so often, especially when we get busy, is we blow that off. So it's sitting there in the calendar as a time to work on property reviews, but we get to that time and you're like, man, I'm too busy. I got too much going on. I'll do that later. Maybe I'll catch up next week. So we blow it off. So, and that's not good, right? Obviously not good. So the way to treat those time block times is as if it's a meeting with your future self. So it's a meeting with another person. The person happens to be you, because the thing is, all of us would never, ever blow off a meeting with another person. Everyone listening to this, Mark, is a very respectful, nice, polite person. Right. Would never, ever blow off a meeting with another person. So like if you had lunch scheduled in your calendar with another person, you wouldn't stand them up. Like you wouldn't just not show up. You would never dream of doing that. So treat time block times the same way. That's living there as an appointment with another person. Don't stand them up. That person happens to be you. And believe me, your future self is sitting there in the future watching you right now saying, please do that thing you promised to do. Please do those 2 property reviews this week, because that's really going to help me out. Like you have no idea how much that's going to help me in the future if you were to commit to doing that every single week. So it's all about how you're viewing that time block time. View it as a meeting with you. It's a meeting with your future self. Don't stand yourself up. Don't blow yourself off. Commit back to yourself and show up for that meeting just as if you would show up to lunch with a client.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And again, the underlying theme here I'm hearing consistently is taking care of yourself and doing the things for yourself that ultimately, again, it sounds counterintuitive because you're out there, you got to be busy, you got to be meeting with people, you got to be making new relationships. But ultimately, if you're not doing the things that are taking care of yourself, are setting yourself up for success, it's going to hurt you in the long run, right? So
it will. Yeah, absolutely. It will. Unfortunately, it will.
Yeah, I know. All right. Which brings us to our last point, number 5, which is slow down.
Slow down. This is number 5. This is the last one. So one of my favorite expressions is go slow to go fast. Go slow to go fast. And it really applies right now to today's market, where we are moving at a really fast pace. Now, granted, we're recording this and making this webinar in August. It's not as fast paced as it was in April and May. I get that, but it's still pretty darn fast paced. And also, meanwhile, there's all these external things happening in the world that we've all noticed, that we all know about. So everything is pressing us to move at this very fast pace. We got to get the offer in. We have this and that deadline. The property just came in the market. We got to get the buyer out to look at it, right? It's fast, fast, fast. So if we want to go fast at the end, we have to go slow at the beginning, right? So we have to slow down to go fast, because we do need to go fast at the end. And at the end, I mean, it's time to go look at the property. It's time to make the offer. It's time to consider what terms we want to put in that offer to be competitive. We do need to go fast, but if we want to find ourselves in a position where we really can go fast, we have got to slow it down at the beginning. So slowing it down at the beginning means taking the time to ask your client a lot of great questions up front, to be super clear on what they're looking for, really mapping out for them the right steps that you're going to take, and mapping out for them the different scenarios and things that may happen and how you're going to handle those scenarios, really showing them the realities of today's market so they don't have to go learn the hard way, right? There's no sense in spinning our wheels and having them make offer after offer. And then finally they get it, that they have to do certain things to compete, like walk them through the realities of the market up front. And it takes you slowing down, right? It takes getting them to slow down. Just slow down the pace. You're going to make your life way better, their life way, way better. If you want to go fast at the end, you got to slow down at the beginning.
Well, and that's a great point too, because Eric, I think, obviously we talk to a ton of agents all the time of what they're doing and how crazy busy they are and all those things. And just talking through that, it's, they're doing all these things with their clients and having to meet their needs, and they forget to market themselves. They forget to do all these things. And part of that, and again, obviously I'm going to throw in Boomerang a little bit here, but that's part of what we can offer for them is while you're doing these things, you're slowing down to take the time to, walk your clients through all these things. A lot of times when you're doing that, you forget to, or don't have time or don't have the money to be out there still connecting with your sphere on a monthly basis. And so again, Boomerang can really do that for you. I mean, it's something that you take literally 10 minutes of your time to sign up, and automatically we send offers out to your clients once a month. You literally don't even have to think about it. We do all that for you. It frees up your time to slow down, to take the time to walk your clients through all these other things. So again, not to make this a huge sales pitch, but that's definitely something that we bring, a value that we can bring that's going to keep you in flow with your sphere, top of mind. And again, the key I can't stress enough is completely automated. You don't have to do a thing once you sign up. So definitely check us out, because I think, again, as we've walked through all this, it's about figuring out how you can do more with less, how you can take the time to really connect, to make those better relationships, to invest in yourself. And if we can do some of this work for you when you're not having to think about it, you're going to have more time to slow down and do some of that stuff. So, so definitely I would check us out in that regard as well. So, great. Well, thank you, Eric. I really appreciate it. I mean, these are obviously, things not only for those in real estate, but I think just in general in life, you could take a lot of value from what you're walking through in these 5 tips. And I know for sure that you have many different classes that you teach. One of them is called the Alpha State class. I don't know, would you mind maybe sharing a little bit more about what that is?
Yeah, just
get involved.
Super fast. So it's made just for the full-time real estate professional, for them to build up their mindset, build up their skill set. We do quick little lessons. We make it easy to digest. And it's a community of people just like you who want to raise the bar, who just want to have a more fulfilling life, a more fulfilling business. People can go to alphastateclass.com to check that out. Also, I want to echo what you said about Boomerang. It's just such a great tool to make life easy. It touches on really all those 5 points as I was talking about. So I said I'm a student of success. So many of the successful realtors that I know use your system, and it's awesome. It's just amazing. But anyway, go to alphastateclass.com if anyone wants more coaching like the things I just went through here in this webinar.
Perfect. Yeah, guys, check it out. Like I said at the beginning, he's an expert. He knows what he's doing. He's working with successful agents all over the country. Even if you go to your Facebook page, I mean, there's a ton that you can learn off of that. So obviously you can check out his information is here. His email is there as well. So definitely reach out. If you guys have questions regarding Boomerang, I would be more than happy to walk you through the program, answer any questions that you guys have. But again, that kind of wraps it up today. So thank you guys for the time. Eric, thank you so much for taking the time. It's a pleasure to have you.